Call this meeting to order at 7 PM. Kim, would you do roll call, please?
Trustee Smith,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hart.
Here.
Mayor Fowler,
Here.
Trustee Schaefer,
Here.
Trustee Scott.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody take a look at the agenda.
I have
We-
some additions.
Okay,
Since we didn't have a quorum last month, we were not able to approve our minutes from January, the January 14th regular meeting and the January 28th special joint meeting. So we need to add those on there for approval.
okay,
And under discussion, we need to add Board of Trustee Code of Ethics policy.
under discussion.
I didn't know if we had.
We adding the other one, Kim?
We're adding the minutes under.
Consent items?
Yeah, where the other minutes
Okay.
are at. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Approval of minutes.
Option to approve the agenda with changes.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, do we have anybody here for public comment?
Yes, we need to read that to you.
Huh?
Public comment. Can you
Yes.
read them? I'm sorry.
I was just asking if we had.
Tammy's got her hand up.
I'm sorry, I was reading and I didn't say aye.
Oh, okay. You're overshadowed. I'm sorry.
Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please stand, state your name, and professionally address the board when recognized. The Board of Trustees may not respond to your comments during this meeting. They may take your comments and suggestions under advisement, and your questions will be directed to the appropriate person or department for follow-up.
Okay. And I'm assuming Mr. Grutman hasn't made it on yet.
I don't see anybody else on yet.
Okay, I sent him another email, but. Okay, well, we will skip down to number 2 and hopefully he can get on. Jesse McElroy. Once you start speaking, I'll start the time.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, so we do have some control. Thank you very much. All right.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jessie McElroy. I'm co-owner of Unbridled Contractors. In 2023, we had the honor of restoring the building at 304 Comanche Street, known originally as Jack Pemberton's Conoco. Last year, our business recognized the need for a mobile office, acquired a school bus conversion, and brought the mobile office to our office property. This acquisition was made with the understanding that the mobile office was in no way a violation of town code and a creative way to meet our needs as a business. Since December, we've been presented with several citations and ultimate corrective action to undergo a use by special review to permit our mobile office use. We've challenged each citation using the municipal code as the source of evidence or reasoning. These refutations have been dismissed and reciprocated only with costly, unnecessary processes for both ourselves and the town. Please see the packet that I've prepared for you that lists the citations and requirements from code compliance, town staff, and town attorney. Below each citation in blue is our refutation. I'm approaching you now with the town government model in mind. The town's resources, including administration, safe built, code compliance, and town attorney are accountable to you, the Board of Trustees. So for this reason, I present the following question for which I've diligently sought answers at a great cost since early December. Since our mobile office is not in violation of any town code as presented, and not an occupied recreational vehicle defined by section 16 as a vehicle being used as a domicile with daily physical presence. And it's used for offices, which is not a special use at all, but instead a use permitted by right in the C1 district. And not a permanent accessory structure due to its lawful mobility, meaning that it's insured, registered, and plated. Is it lawful for the town of Kiowa to permit or to require a permit by special use review? Or to hinder the use of our mobile office in any way? I do need to be clear. We're not interested in special treatment or to be excused from process. Everyone in this room is under the same authority of the town of Kiowa Municipal Code. It's because the code is written with intention and clarity that our position is this. Use of our mobile office is fully compliant with the town of Kiowa Municipal Code as written, and any requirements from the town would be inappropriate. Therefore, I'm petitioning the immediate use of our mobile office today. Thank you for your time, and if there's any questions that I can answer, I'm happy to do so now, or I've provided my email and cell phone number for you to reach me privately.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
I do have a question for you.
Sure, Mayor.
Have you put in an application for a special use permit?
No, ma'am. We have had many conversations, including a pre-application conference, and with communications between attorneys. In all of that communication, we've stated over and over that that application would be unnecessary and inappropriate because we're not against the code.
Because that would go through our planning commission. And all right, that's all the questions I had. Thank you.
You're welcome. Zach Groutman is signed up for public comment. He says that he's in the waiting room and he used the link that was on the website.
Okay.
It's not in this waiting room.
Okay,
So they could be in the water authority one, because the water authority one is right before this one. So he needs to make sure he's looking at the right meeting.
okay.
Like
I
I
tried
said,
the link
I
that
sent him.
Sasha sent him and that one is not working. So then I got on my phone and sent him the webpage.
Yeah, and I sent him the webpage.
I don't know, we don't change the meeting links for every meeting. It's the same link for every single meeting. so-
Okay, say, I can go double check real quick. but,
Okay,
And I'll also, while your third public comment is going, I'll ask him to double check and make sure he's not on the water board.
yeah, because if you go to the front
Meeting.
page, right in the middle of, it says events, it'll show the water authority meeting tonight, and then it will show the town meeting
Yeah,
right
and
after
I
that.
sent him the March 11th town
That's the
agenda.
one I just sent him to.
Okay,
Was
yeah,
that
it should be the town agenda one.
Yeah.
Yep, that should be the one he's in, so,
Okay,
I don't know.
I don't know, sometimes it can be a little glitchy.
Yeah.
this is the one that I sent him and he's on now. March 11th agenda.
Yeah. Yes, that's the one.
That's the one he said he's on.
Okay,
I can't do anything about it, sending him in my meeting.
yeah, I don't, that's weird, okay, I don't know what it's doing.
Is there should be an option on there to call in.
Okay,
Maybe
Yeah.
you can call in and do it that
Yes,
way.
on the phone number one. Cause then it'll show up, hopefully as a phone.
sure.
Okay, Charles Valenzuela, should I get that right?
You're right on the money.
Okay.
One of the few.
Well, I was a high school teacher for 25 years, so I've slaughtered a lot of
That's
those in my
okay.
time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Charles, obviously, resident for about 9 years over at 619 County Road 45 here. A couple questions. We had the new dog facility thing for the poop picker up with the bags in the bucket that's in there. I've noticed for the last almost 2 months now, it's still full, not emptied. Someone keeps putting bags in, but nobody's coming to pick up the poop out of the thing. Is it something that no one's doing anymore? Cause I haven't been to a meeting for like, since before I got COVID, so a lot of things have changed. Faces definitely all changed.
It's funny you mentioned that today because the public works guy told us this morning when he was leaving the office, he's headed over there to address all the poop bags at the park.
Not the park, right here on County Road 45.
Oh, County Road 45.
Yeah, on the side, just between the firehouse and where I live at 619. The apartment's right there. They put in a station because people were letting their dogs just defecate all over the road. Nobody's picking it up. So,
Yeah, I'm not even aware of that one, to be
That's
honest
right.
with you.
Right there at the back side of the vet's office coming
On
out.
the backside.
Is that a vet office thing or?
No, it's a town thing and it's just right there at the back gate where the trailers come
I
in.
didn't even know there was one.
I
right
wasn't
there.
aware of that
I
either.
will put a note on the board.
yeah,
Yeah, cause Chuck's my neighbor. So-
Okay, I'll put a note on the
Okay.
board for Monday.
and the other thing is if they don't have anybody, if you need help with volunteers to do it, if I can access to help to volunteer for that, not a problem, cause
That's very
my
nice.
dog
of
and
you.
I
don't see why he can't do
walk
that.
there.
Yeah.
My dog and I walk there all the time, so.
Okay,
I just think
thank you
maybe
for
we
making us
can-
aware of
Yeah,
it.
and then the other thing was, right where we come up to our apartments, just shy of the actual driveway area, our sidewalk, from there to just before the manor for the senior living facilities,
Mhm.
hasn't been one there since I moved here. And I've noticed there's been a lot of improvements with, in front of the firehouse, the sidewalk areas and all that put in. Is that the town thing that has to be put in there?
That's interesting. Yeah,
Okay.
that's actually on our agenda tonight to discuss.
Wait,
Yeah,
I'm done.
there you go.
All right.
Thank you all so
Hang
my
out with
internet
us for a while,
sucked. Hang
get
on.
that update.
Thank you all so much.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
Sir.
You're welcome. Well, the only other one we have
Hold
is,
on.
that might be him.
That's what I'm hoping. What's his name, Jesse?
What's his name?
Zachary Grutman.
Is this Zachary Grantman?
This is Zachary Grotman. Can you hear me?
I can now, yes.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry about the Zoom. Couldn't get that to
Yeah.
work, unfortunately.
Sometimes it doesn't even work for our trustees, so don't feel bad.
Yeah. It has its moments.
Well,
I, for you for
I'm
public
glad I
comment.
could do this.
Whenever he wants to start, I'll start.
I'm sorry.
the
Mr. Grantman, whenever
I'm
you
sorry.
start,
Okay. You want me to start the public comment? Okay, I think I got you.
yeah, we're
All
on
right.
you now. Sasha's gonna start the timer as soon as you start speaking.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you to the Board of Trustees for allowing me this time to speak. My name is Zach Grauman. I'm an attorney here in Colorado, and my firm represents Ms. Jessie McElroy, who is also scheduled to speak here tonight, or who you may have already heard from. There is a dispute between the town of Kiowa and my client regarding the use of a recreational vehicle as a mobile office. I will now address the ordinances as raised by the town. The mobile office vehicle is located on Ms. McElroy's business property, which is a C1 zoning district. C1 zoning districts allow for professional offices pursuant to section 16-25 subsection 4 of the town's municipal code. Therefore, no special application or review is necessary under section 16-36 of the code, which is what has been requested by the town. The town also seeks enforcement under section 16-54, which allows for special uses, which allows for uses by special review. However, section 16-54 falls under Article 3, which governs mobile home regulations for mobile home parks and mobile home subdivisions. As such, the section is inapplicable to my client. Finally, the town seeks enforcement of section 16-119.5. Subsection A requires it makes it unlawful to park on town streets and right-of-ways for certain periods of time. The mobile office vehicle is parked on Ms. McElroy's business when not in use and is never parked on the road or right-of-way. Subsection B states it's unlawful to park an occupied recreational vehicle on private property beyond certain periods of time, but defines an occupied recreational vehicle as a domicile. The mobile office is not a domicile, Subsection C is the definition with no enforcement authority. My firm has expressed all of these concerns with the town attorney, Ms. Ruth Bourne, in emails and a letter dated March 5th, 2025, which was responsive to her February 19th, 2025 email in regard to the ordinances that I just referenced. On March 6th, Ms. Kimberly Boyd wrote an email to my firm that she had instructed Ms. Bourne to not respond to us any further on this matter. Her email did not address our concerns regarding the ordinances. It unilaterally claims that a permit or application is necessary and threatened my client with fines if no application was provided. Our client wishes to comply with the town, but we believe no ordinance violation applies to my client's situation. And now the town attorney has been directed to not respond to my firm. Any direction as to how my client's position is wrong with regard to the ordinances is necessary to resolve this matter. Thank you very much.
I would like to make a comment regarding this. Part of the issue, going over getting citations for it, we get numerous complaints from residents around the building that are not happy with that being there.
Mayor, would you like me to come to the podium to hear your?
I'm just stating a fact.
Oh, okay.
That's all. So, that is part of the issue. What are we supposed to tell the people that don't think it should be there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you
My
know,
heart, can I answer that, Zach?
I'm not sure who's speaking, but sure.
Jesse.
It's Jesse.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm from this town. I grew up here. I graduated from Kiowa High School. I brought my successful business back to this town because I love this town. I don't want anyone to be upset. I don't want anybody to feel like we're skipping out on the rules. I've offered my cell phone number, my email to any neighbor who has a problem to go and ask if there's anything that we can do to make it more comfortable for them. And I'm happy to continue doing it. It's why I've provided my contact information to you all. But to be frank, the fines threatenings that I've gotten has no bearing to people's complaints. So if their complaints are in opposition to the municipal code, that's really their problem. Although I'm happy to bridge the gap and be kind and have a conversation, it's not my problem to fix.
I also
And
feel
as far,
the complaints because I have people around me and I do not like some of the stuff that they have. But if they're in code, then there's nothing that I can do about it. So, you know what I mean?
Can I ask a question for
Sure, Mr. Smith.
clarification?
Yeah.
As I read through this and what you gave me, you did go to court.
We have not been given the chance to go to court yet. We had the attorneys speak to each other and then the attorney dropped off and said that she has been told to stand down and that unless there was an application on the table, the town would not speak to me any further. But the conversation was over.
Okay.
And that if my bus got brought back to the property, I'd be fined $2,600 per day. In addition to the $100 that I spent on a pre-application conference that was unnecessary and 3 months of conversation and disruption to my business, having to pull the bus off the property.
And where does the
and
fine,
without any, sorry, I was just gonna add, without any guidance as to what ordinance is being violated, you know, we assert that there is no violation, so there is no reason for a special permit review, which would require my client to, it would be a months-long process, and she would expend over $4,000. So, you know, we're just trying to find some kind of resolution here.
I do understand that $3,000 of that $4,200 is a deposit that would be refundable to me if the funds were not used by the town to cover the resources for the review. But you need to understand, we're a small business and thousands of dollars have already been spent. Just trying to defend ourselves in the issue. And to come out of pocket another $4,000 would be detrimental to us, and I think it's unfair.
And I'm curious as to how the numbers of the fines came up. Where is that?
Your code,
That's in our code.
But, so what is the fine like for?
every day that there's a violation, against the code, under code enforcement, it's a $2,650 fine, potential fine a day. And it's given out by the judge.
I believe that that section is section 1-72. It's for any violation of the ordinance, an ordinance, but, you know, as I stated before, we assert that there is no violation of any ordinance. You know, so we're saying that there is no reason for the necessity of a special permit review or anything of that nature.
And has Susie been involved in all
Yes.
of this?
So it started with
Yes,
Suzie.
she's been doing the
In the
citation.
packet, there are 3 citations, all of which, I've sent refutations for. None of those have been responded to. It went from Suzie to, hey, look, I really do not want to be in an argument with the town. That's not why I moved my business here. I love this town. And I want to be a friend of the town. So look, I'll do what you guys want me to do. I'll go to this pre-application meeting. It's documented in my 12/11 email that I didn't feel like it was necessary or appropriate because we had not been in violation, but in the spirit of cooperation that I was going to do that. I attended that meeting. I spent $100 doing that. When we walked away from that meeting, I thought, I waited 5 weeks for that meeting. I thought that there was going to be some exploration, given the copious amounts of information that I had provided. We came to that meeting and there had been no exploration up front. I had to restate everything I had already stated in emails and phone calls and pre-applications. And at that point, I was told, okay, well, from here, you need to do a special use review. And at that point, I thought, well, goodness, that could be several more months, and that's certainly $4,000 out of pocket. I just need to consult with my counsel and make sure that that's fair and just by way of the municipal code. My counsel looked over everything and decided that it was not. He reached out to Ms. Bourne, and they had 2 communications via email and letter. And then that was put to a stop and told without an application for a special use review that this issue would not be considered any further.
So this is Ruth Bourne. And I don't know what you provided to the Board of Trustees. I'm happy to review it. I think one of the concerns of the town has been this vacillating issue of what your proposed use is going to be. So I've heard you and your attorney this evening articulate that now you're using it as a mobile office. And so
I would suggest that you do review all of the emails and communications that I've sent prior to you being called on the scene. If you look back.
Excuse me, please. This is not a debate between the attorneys and such. This is public comment, and Ruth, I appreciate your input. We do need to move on. This is not going to be addressed, or I won't say it will be addressed. It's not gonna come to a resolution tonight. We will have to speak with the building department, the planning commission and such, and take a look at what we've got, and then we'll have to get back with you.
Mayor, may I finish responding to Ruth's
No,
comment?
we're done.
Okay, I thought she had
We're
asked me a
paying
question.
her, talk to you about this. And just as you said, $4,000, that's a lot of money to this town. So
Yes, and I just like
it
to,
will be looked into,
yeah.
but we're not gonna come to a resolution
I
this evening.
completely agree that it's a lot of money to the town. It's been a lot of money to me too. And what I'm saying to you is that it's been unnecessary for the town to spend this money from the very beginning.
Now I will make a comment. I personally was told when that bus was first there that people were occupying it in the evening.
I
by
can,
residents around
I
there.
can tell you
Uh,
100%
That's what I was
that is
told,
not
so
true.
it's vacillating, now it's a mobile office, before someone was living there.
It's
Anyway, we
completely
need to move
untrue.
on now.
And you can't take community rumor as what's actually happening, Miss Mayor. That's
I'm
unjust.
not taking
You are,
community
you're
rumor.
taking it over what I said.
Okay, we're done,
Yes,
please,
ma'am.
stop now.
Yes, ma'am.
We're
We're done.
arguing, please.
Okay, we're moving on. Is there
Thank you for
anybody
your
else?
time.
No, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's move on to. Oh, pardon?
Statement or a motion. I'd like to, either have a motion or a statement that we need to have executive counsel with our attorney before this goes any further.
Yeah, we can.
That has to be scheduled, doesn't
It
it?
has to be scheduled. It's not
Yeah.
something we decide tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
In the future.
It's not something we schedule tonight.
No, we'll
We,
just,
we need to have a
yeah.
discussion with
Yeah.
all the entities before we
Yeah.
make a decision to do that. There's
know.
not a necessary need for that.
okay. Okay, now, on to new business. Public hearing. We have a special event liquor permit, Albert County 4-H Leaders Council. Are you folks here?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Very well. It's a beautiful day in Kiowa today.
Yes,
isn't
it is.
So my name is Callie Benson. I also brought Lacey Zion with me. I am the Elbert County Extension Director that oversees the 4-H program here within Elbert County. And Lacey Zion, who has been a fantastic certified 4-H volunteer for us for many years, is also stepping into the role next year of our Elbert County 4-H Leaders Council President. So as you can see, Lacey Zion's name is not on this application permit because she is shadowing underneath the current president of Krista Rector. For reference, we have, is this the 14th annual, I believe? I do believe so. I believe that is correct. 4-H Leaders Council Gala that we've held in Elbert County, and this has been a phenomenal fundraiser that I've had the pleasure of coming and speaking to you all about for the 10 years that I have been here in our special use application. But this fundraiser has really been essential to Elbert County 4-H, and as far as the support monetarily, especially that they provide for 4-Hers across our community. This not only goes towards fundraising our senior leadership scholarships where kids can apply for those to go directly to their schools, but it also helps with project scholarships. So if there's a need, such as last year for additional 3D archery targets, we were able to purchase those so that those kids can have the same opportunity to practice here as they do at the state 4-H shooting sports championships, of which they do very well, by the way. This also gives them opportunity to where there is little to no out-of-pocket money from our 4-Hers in order to participate at local, district, and state camps, focusing on leadership development and positive youth development. But this has also been able to scholarship those individuals within our community that go on to national contests, national events, national leadership opportunities, so that they don't have as much out of pocket. So this event has very successfully been able to raise almost $25,000 annually through both the dinner and feed, a silent auction, a live auction, as well as just general sponsorship. And we're just here tonight to again ask that you would go ahead and approve our special liquor license for that event, so that we can continue to offer those positive youth development opportunities to our community.
On the 12th.
What time does it start on the 12th?
I should have brought flyers for you guys. I'm so sorry.
That's what I believe.
Perfect, 5 o'clock. Thank you so much.
In my
I
calendar.
so appreciate it, yes. So Lacey is excellent. She has flyers and brochures for you as well, but we do start at 5 p.m. We do start out with Rocky Mountain oysters that are freshly prepared by one of our longtime 4-H families, the Friends, and they are delicious. And obviously we'll have some complimentary alcohol as well with our beer and our sangria. Again, you can see in our application package that we do check IDs at the door and wristband those that are over 21. And then we just have a really nice feed. I believe we're doing an addition, like continuing on our partnership with the Elizabeth Flocker plant so they can provide us the beef. And then Rose's ice cream will be for dessert, and we'll cap it off with that live auction. So
Okay.
Make sure you put one of those on the board. Yeah, would you?
Yeah, I'll stay in the back. Yeah. Sure. Still that
Okay,
one.
and I'm reading here, the servers will be tip certified
Yes, ma'am.
and. Okay, you've notified the sheriff. Does anybody have any questions for her?
Looks like it's all.
You just
Yeah.
need to see if there's any public comment.
I got one question.
Please.
How did you get it all done today? Shooting orientation, equality assurance, and you made here, I didn't expect to see. Overachiever.
It was a big day, but we've had a really great, it's March, all of our 4-H programming is really gearing up and we've had a lot of big events today and it's been really fun. We'll never do this after the time change again.
I haven't thought about
Yeah.
that.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve the special.
Oh,
event
hang on
license.
just a sec. Ruth, do we need to open a public hearing for it or just?
It's already in it.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
said is. You need to make sure there's no public comment on the application.
I was getting ready to do, so hang on. Is there any public comment on this? Seeing none, go ahead, Bailey.
I make a motion to approve the liquor license for the 4-H gala.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, thank you.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Your copy.
We invite you all to please join us and thank goodness Lacey is here to have the information. And
Yeah.
thank you all so much for your support.
Thanks,
I
guys.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Kelly, she's gonna get that for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we need to go to an adoption of an ordinance here. Ordinance 1, series 2025. I am not going to read this in full text, as there's like 4 pages to this first one. And my voice will not last that long. The title, is ordinance 1, series 2025. It's an ordinance amending the town of Kiowa Municipal Code, chapter 16, article 4, supplemental regulations, mobile food trucks and push carts, town of Kiowa, Colorado. Did you all get a chance to look through this? And do you have any questions on it?
No questions.
This is a continuation of our code updates.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is something that's never been in our code, so it's an absolute addition. It's not amending anything, it's an addition.
There's a typo.
Where?
Top of the line says mobile food trucks and perch carts.
Yes.
It does.
Push carts.
Okay.
We have spell check, don't we?
Perch carts.
It's happening.
It's not needed.
But it's not a spelling problem, it's a grammar problem.
I wonder if that's an actual thing.
It probably is. Okay, seeing no questions on it, do I have a motion to adopt this ordinance?
Still gotta open it up for public comment.
Is there any comment from the public?
I guess I'm curious as to what the new ordinance would be. So the ordinance is adding regulations for mobile food trucks and push carts. And how they operate business in the town of Kiowa. We've never had a policy regarding push trucks or mobile food trucks. They are required to get licensure and registration from the county. But there's never been a permitting process in Kiowa. And we're finding we're getting more and more of them with, town events, block parties, things of that nature. So to protect them, and their abilities in the town of Kiowa from complaints or otherwise, and, to be in line with their, requirements set forth by Elbert County. We put a section in the code addressing it.
And I would just note that this recommendation came from planning and zoning. And they reviewed this and the text that you're looking at this evening.
Right, the content of it, is the recommendation from the planning commission from last month's meeting.
Quick question, just so I have it in my head for clarification, because I know. How does this, or does this affect large audience events that are already traditionally held at the fairgrounds?
It doesn't affect the fairgrounds whatsoever. The content of the ordinance, you'll see, the things that it's addressing are where they can set up in correlation to local businesses. They can't be blocking them, they can't be in close proximity or sitting right out in front of one of our restaurants.
Right.
They can't just set up arbitrarily in front of a house, you know, in one of the neighborhoods without getting prior permission from the neighbors around, or some sort of acknowledgement that the neighborhood doesn't have any complaints.
So food trucks at the fairgrounds is like business as usual.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
This is
Just making
mostly
sure.
like.
Those
I read it.
Those are like, if we had a food truck out here in front of town hall, this is town hall's property. If Unbridled had it behind their business, that's their property, they hired that food truck. It's not impeding on a house around them, it's not impeding, or sitting out in front of one of our restaurants, it's things of that nature.
Okay.
It's setting regulations of what they can, where they can set up, how they can set up.
That was the idea.
I do have a
Yeah.
question on this. You said they can't set up in front of businesses.
Right.
Suppose the business gives them permission to set up there.
Well, I can't remember that discussion.
I don't have it memorized, so
Like on the
you
front of
guys
the
were
car.
part of those meetings.
Well, if they got owner permission, they could apply for a license to be wherever they
They're
are
setting that back.
proposing to be, yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's what was said in the planning commission meeting, is that they had to get permission from whoever they were setting up in front of, and then if there was a block party, they would have to get consent from the neighboring neighbors of whoever is hosting that block party, or if it's for the whole block, because they didn't want to get into a situation of people being sued or calling the cops on them, so that was the intention.
I
of this
was just
ordinance.
curious
Well, and
because there's a couple of
Right,
our businesses along here
right.
that let
exactly.
food trucks set up out front.
Well,
I think
I
that's a
believe,
mutual consent.
well, I don't know, because the discussion in planning commission was the fact that we sit on a highway.
Mhm.
So they're not only blocking a restaurant, you know, that's already conducting business in the town center, but they're sitting on a highway. And that's governed by CDOT. That's not a permit we can issue for them to set up for business on a highway. That's a permit they have to get from CDOT in order to set up on 86. That's why I believe, as best of my knowledge, the bar has always had the one that they have set up in the back.
In the back, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cause they have been having them set up out front.
Well, that may be a situation they'll have
In
to
a-
talk to CDOT
In
about.
front of Leach's is where they were setting up at one time.
Last time I was there, they were right in front of Kiowa Bar.
I went by one night and they were right in front of Leach's.
I did have
So-
somebody in
They were in
planning
a
commission
parking
mention,
space.
well, I did have somebody, mentioned during the planning commission, one of the commissioners noted that they know there was one that set up in front of the bar. I've never, ever witnessed any of this.
Uh-huh.
But they acknowledged that there was one set up on the bar on 86, in front of the bar on 86. And, you know, that is a CDOT issue. That's a CDOT highway, and you're required to get a permit from CDOT to set up a business on the highway.
Right, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any further discussion on this ordinance? And there was no public comment, correct? I'll entertain a motion to accept this.
With the
So-
revision,
Yes.
Yes, with the revision,
Oh,
the typo.
cart, yeah. So moved.
No, second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next item. Ordinance 2, series 2025. Ordinance of the town of Kiowa, Colorado, amending the town of Kiowa zoning code, chapter 11, streets, sidewalks, and public places, parades, rallies, block parties, and special events, town of Kiowa, Colorado.
So on this ordinance, previously, the only language we had in our code was addressing violations. And that would have been under section 10-107, organized activity on streets. That was, that reads, it's determined large groups of people conducting parades, races, or other organized activities on the streets may interfere with traffic and jeopardize the health, safety, and welfare of those using the streets. Therefore, it shall be unlawful for anybody to organize, promote, or participate in any parades, race, or other organized activity using the streets of Kiowa. I was approached by the school last year. They had an offer from the Denver Broncos to come down here and do a parade through Kiowa for some event that they had going on. It would have been really sad if we didn't approve that and allow them to do that. They had found an alternate activity, however that played out for them. I wasn't part of those discussions, but it had nothing to do with the town telling them they couldn't do it. But this came to mind when that request was made. If the only thing we have in the code is to penalize somebody for gathering in our streets, that's kind of constrictive. So, we approached the planning commission with a revision to the code, and this is a new addition to the code as well. That sets some guidelines, for any of those activities.
And this is only, if I remember correctly, this is only for the streets of Kiowa. They have to get special, use permits from CDOT if they use 86.
Yes.
Right.
So if there's nothing in the current code about parades, how do we do the fair every year?
CDOT,
But doesn't it turn down Kiowa Bennett Road? back
They
to
have to,
fairgrounds?
they don't come to us for any of that. They are working with the sheriff's department and CDOT
Oh,
on organizing that, the route and the date and the whole activity.
Hmm.
So,
What about our car parade at Christmas?
yeah,
Right?
so I guess it's just.
We've always just gone through the sheriff.
we have gone through the sheriff, yes, but does it make it right that the town does it and nobody else does it, right?
Well, I know, but I mean, do we have to go through CDOT or, I
We
don't have
don't
an
know.
issue with that.
you should, if you go down 86.
Yeah,
May not be doing the parade anymore.
well, it depends
Well-
on it.
No,
We've been able to work very amicably with CDOT.
Right?
right, in the traffic pattern and everything else.
Right. The sheriff's department writes it for them, so it's not.
Two of the
necessarily
last three
something-
parade managers for the Elbert County Fair are sitting in this room.
They've managed to get them done.
It's not bad.
Okay, any other discussion on it? Everybody get a chance to read through it? Any objections, questions?
So moved.
Do we have any public comment on this? Seeing none? Trevor, you made the motion to accept it?
Yep.
Do I have a second?
One second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. It was adopted. Next item, contract for Elbert County Fair Kickoff Fireworks Event, July 26th, that's sponsored by the town.
Okay, this is our new event we talked about this year. Thanks to TJ Steck at the Elizabeth Fire Department, we've received commitments from numerous fire protection districts in Elbert County that's allowed us to proceed with the planning of this event. I've been working really closely with the president of the Fair Board on coordinating this with their other events on that kickoff day. Looks like they'll have the Centennial Farms and Ranches banquet that evening, and which is great because there was very successful last year, and due to the positive feedback, that looks like that's going to become an annual tradition as part of the fair now, honoring our Centennial Farms and Ranches across Elbert County. I understand they are also coordinating a small rodeo event that evening, or trying to, that will be held right before the fireworks display at 9 p.m. So that they have some sort of fair activities leading up to this.
Yeah.
The fireworks display will be held directly after at 9 p.m. The rain out date will be the next Saturday, August 2nd, which is also the last day of the fair. The budget for this event, which you'll see on your packets, is $15,000. The town did budget $15,000 total for all town events in 2025. So we are actively seeking sponsors for this event and have already received a commitment of $5,000 from Farmers State Bank, with other smaller ones still being considered. The optimum scenario would be 2 to 3 large sponsors. We're still working on all the particulars. We did not put much heavy work into doing this until we got the go-ahead from the fire districts.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have done any good to start if they weren't gonna allow us to have it.
Right.
So we've gotten the green flag from them, and they're gonna work out the fire bans if there are any at that time for us. I'm shooting to pay this in full by May 16th, and the reason I'm doing that is there's a 15% free product to us that will go toward this display. The breakdown of costs for this event is as follows. The total cost of fireworks is $12,472, with a discount of $1,477. Insurance by that company is $1,500. That is a general liability of not less than $10 million. All entities listed on the certificate of insurance will be deemed additional insurance. That will be anybody working that event as a volunteer or as a paid employee of theirs. And that will also be property owners all the way around the fairgrounds. The town agrees to general liability under special event for anything arising during the event, but not at the company's acts or performance during the show. Anything that they're responsible for, they will pay for. Shoot fee is $1,500. The delivery of the fireworks is $825. The shoot cost is $100. Total value of the show is $17,869, with our price being $15,000 if paid by May 16th. We anticipate receiving donations that will exceed this cost. Any proceeds that exceed the cost of the show will be donated back to those emergency agencies that are stepping in to volunteer or allow us to have it.
Cool.
So this company will do it themselves, do the whole display?
They will provide the mortars. There will be a team of 6 to 7 pyrotechnicians, because it doesn't fall during the 4th of July weekend where they're all split out across the whole state. We have the benefit of having all of them here at the same time. So we'll have every one of them that they have in our area here.
How are we seeking sponsors? Like, how do they know to?
So I have put out every year when we schedule our events, we get them planned out. We do a sponsorship packet and we mail them out with the sponsorship diagram for corporate sponsors and then on down to in kind. So those have gone out. We've applied on various large entities websites under community donations and sponsorships like Core, Mountain View Electric, Wagner Equipment, things of that nature. We're working with Kubota right now, and the bank, because they also serve on our event committee, are helping to actively make contact and relationships with large corporates.
I'm just curious, like at a rodeo, you see sponsor flags or banners around the. How will people know that
So our sponsorship information that goes out, the diagram and the various levels of sponsorship will detail what that sponsorship allows them to have.
Yeah.
It'll be, any, advertisement we put out for this event as a corporate sponsor. They'll be put out there as a corporate sponsor of the event. Any banners that we have, they'll be added on there as as a corporate sponsor for that event, and their banners will be hung at our event.
Flyers, things like that.
Any social media, blitz,
Yeah, okay.
things of that. And we have a sponsorship page or a whole event sponsorship page on our website that acknowledges all the sponsors of all of our events that we have.
Nice.
Since it's gonna be opening at the fair, I think we should acknowledge them via the PA announcements. I think that would be good.
And that's the fair.
Mhm.
So,
we have to talk
that's
to the fair
coordination
about
with the
that.
fair on how
Yeah.
that works, but, I'm sure they'll make some sort of announcement that the fireworks are coming. After those events are over, that, and Trevor, you correct me if I'm wrong. About animals. That night at the fair is my understanding, kickoff night at the fairgrounds, because all of the competitions are over with. Is that true?
They're not there yet.
Yeah, it doesn't bother them anyway.
Well, I've had the pyrotechnicians say the same thing. They do a lot of fairs and they've never had a complaint about animals,
I
but
blown the
there
crap
seems to
off
be
right there where
concern.
Sasha's standing with one sitting on a bucket sheet right here.
does it phase them?
So they just-
Okay.
And so just,
It's just, the ones that are scared are the ones that walk around on two legs more than the ones that are on four. So I can't make this shit up. I mean, and I can pick on a lot of people and stereotypes, but really, you put somebody with a sash and a tiara and you got the mom with a double grip on a horse hoping that it, and her nervousness makes it worse. So, but no, that night, the livestock that is on the grounds that day, most of them will have gone home. That was, so we didn't have to deal with the anxiety of that. It made sense from a fair board standpoint to do it on the opening weekend. Maybe it'll create a monsoon season that we desperately need.
Yeah.
It'll rain out twice and we can do it on Monday day or something.
It's all good.
I'll take a
Okay,
water.
so you're looking for approval on this?
I'm looking for approval on that. And also, we did approve $15,000 budget on all events, but, and this will come up later in my report. We did save $8,000 on our budget line item for the public works truck. We got it way under budget. So we have that money there that could be appropriated over there if needed. It's just, for the last 3 years, every 4th of July, I'm inundated with complaints about why we took away fireworks. And, as we talked at the last meeting, those that are here that weren't part of that, it took a while to figure out where that was coming from. I thought the town had a fireworks display that I was never made aware of, and it actually was the fire department that was holding it. And because of budgetary constraints, they ceased doing it. So, and from the best of my knowledge, Trevor has said otherwise at one of the other meetings, but the best of what's been told to me, there's not another entity in this county that has a fireworks display like that for the. Simla does.
I'm still in
So
Oakland
I
County.
did check Simla, and they don't have one on the schedule this year. They aren't doing it on a night that Simla could possibly be having it.
Right.
And there's not an event scheduled for them this year for a fireworks display.
That's
Yeah.
bad.
So
This is really
this-
good.
Will be the only one in Miller County.
Good.
And, it's my sincere hope that it helps bring people in to the fair, more so on the first night, so.
Just so like to know about this rodeo thing, that's not gonna happen.
Well, that's what I was wondering,
Yes,
because,
for me.
barrel horses get pretty excited,
Okay, well, let's move on here. I'll entertain a motion to accept this, the bid and move forward with it.
so moved.
Is there a second? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Committee for Main Street Board applicant scoring.
Okay. So there was a rough start to this. We had our community meeting, and we had a great turnout to that. A lot of enthusiasm. The weeks following that, trying to get applicants to that board were pretty dismal. But in the end, we ended up with 8 great ones. And, they come from areas such as, the Historical Society, the library, local nonprofits, local business owners, local property owners, employee of a local business, and a local artist. Now what we're needing to proceed is a steering committee comprised of 2 to 3 board members to score those applications that we've received. After those have been scored, the next step will be to have a strategic planning session with the DOLA folks in April or May with those people that you've chosen for the board. This will be a half-day work session to create a strategic plan, a vision, a mission, and a work plan for moving forward as a board. Once that is completed, we will come in on the July application cycle to finalize the process on the part of the town. And we will have a formal Main Street board in place.
What type of time commitment are you talking for the applicant scoring?
Well, we're needing to have them in place before the strategic planning session that they're looking to have in April or May. So
I mean, are we talking a day? Is it
it
a
will only
couple
take
hours?
a couple hours.
Okay,
Like during the daytime?
I mean, in fact, if it would be easier, I don't think we have a need really to bring everybody to a table to sit and do it. I think it's something that I can email to you with a score sheet, and you can score them yourself and send them back. Unless you want to sit at a table together and have discussion over it. If you sit at a table and have discussion over it, that's 3 board members and that's a quorum. So there will need
have
to
to be a
be,
public meeting.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, cause I'm always willing to help, but I can get a lot done with a 3-year-old during the day, so.
I've had a 3-year-old, I imagine.
Well, if we can, yeah, if you can send it to us, I mean, I'm willing to do it. Do we have 2 others?
Yeah, and I can do it too, if we can do it, kind of on our own time.
Okay,
And we're just looking at folks that wanna be a part of the.
So these applications, I'm going to redact any contact information. You will not have their name, their address, their phone number. You're only scoring them off their qualifications and their application information.
Okay.
Okay. Did you want to do it too?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they'll have 4 then. All right, I'll get that out to you guys tomorrow. Thank you, guys.
When do you want that by?
I'll send an email out just within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
As long as we have it, before the next board meeting, I think we'll be good. Okay.
okay, any staff reports? I don't have anything. Kim's covered everything that I would have been discussing, so. Do we have any comments from the Board of Trustees?
I think I make the same comment every year that the snow is melting, the trash is coming up.
Yes.
I really hate that.
Yeah,
So we did, addressing that a little bit. I mean, I guess I could wait till Public Works, but, the snow is melting. The dirt, the trash, like she said, is coming up. We did just purchase some signs, for work areas. Mendez has been to Kubota to inquire about renting an attachment to our Kubota that will clean the curb lines up and down.
nice,
So
A
we'll
sweeper.
start addressing that in
Yeah.
the next couple weeks, yeah.
okay.
And potholes.
It's one person, so,
Do you want me to take a picture of the ones I go through?
no. I've had him go around the town, and actually, that's how I found the cut lock on the hydrant, was going around town looking for potholes
Mhm.
last week, so.
Okay.
I leave the office and I actively drive around the town looking for potholes. So, and Mendez has a list.
Yeah.
If it bothers my car,
growing.
it's getting filled.
Well, yeah, and it's hard to do when we've got, 23 degrees one day and the next day it's 63.
We're gonna knock on wood and hope that this stays for a while. I can't take any more of this.
Yeah. It's gonna be a blizzard.
And everybody in this room is gonna be looking to you.
Oh, I am gonna go back here to, I have a comment that I didn't discuss with, Kim yet. I've had a couple residents, over by the, new bank. That used to be a cul-de-sac there, and now there's an entrance into the bank.
I don't think it was ever a cul-de-sac, it was just, the road just ended.
Okay, well, it
Yeah.
ended, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess there's people that are speeding through there. And there's really, we don't have any enforcement to stop that. People are going into the bank parking lot to go out on 86. I don't know, I drove around and looked at it the other day. And it's gotta be local people that are doing it. Because the sign is still there that says no outlet.
Yes.
So why would you be going up in there?
Yeah.
I don't know of anything we can do.
Speed bump.
There's nothing really we can do. It's private property. It is against law. I've had numerous conversations with the bank, because those same people have called you.
Uh-huh,
The discussions I've had with them, is for them to put up a sign once they're finalized. They're still getting all their signs, but
Uh-huh.
a sign that says, that entrance is for bank, business only.
uh-huh,
It's not a thoroughfare.
uh-huh,
So, they've already drawn on the, parking lot, the entry exit,
Okay.
when those complaints started coming in. So there was a initial suggestion that it was an outlet only, but they'd already paid to have all the markings put on the parking lot. So
gotcha.
they are, talking to the owners of Farmer State to put a sign to that effect.
Okay,
And because it is.
okay. I do have a question that is something we could check into maybe. I have no idea how much signs cost or anything.
Depends on the
But-
sign.
Do you think it might behoove us to have that no outlet sign with a flashing light on it?
That costs a lot of money.
Are they expensive?
The pedestrian, let me give you something for reference, the pedestrian walk through, flashing lights they're proposing down here just across 86 or 6 figures.
Wow. Okay,
Yes.
There are speed limit signs around there.
yeah,
I mean,
there is.
there's only so much that people obey by that, but
Speed limit signs out here too.
Yes, and they don't,
still
nobody
do
follows them.
55, 60 miles an hour. Yeah,
Okay,
it's too bad.
all right.
It's interesting.
I mean, we could put the big old speed hills out there.
Well, I was gonna suggest
One time
that.
going airborne might slow them down.
I was gonna suggest
but-
that, or if they rip off an oil pan or transmission pan, they might think differently.
Possibly.
Yeah, go over there and check out the ones we have in the mobile home park. If you don't creep over those,
Yeah.
I hit the bottom of my
I
car
know.
every time.
It is, I say that in jest, it is different on private property to put those over there.
Yes.
This is a municipal street, so.
Right,
they
Yeah.
have to-
yeah,
So,
Yeah. put those kind.
yeah.
We had a suggestion that we just put in a pothole.
Hey, there you go.
there
Yeah,
will be a pothole. if there's
Yeah.
no
There will
traffic.
yeah.
A pot trench.
Yes,
Portable transfer.
yes.
Okay, any other comments from the Board of Trustees? Ruth, you have anything for us?
I do. I want to discuss the issue last meeting where we didn't have a quorum, and then prior to that, we had the special meeting with KWWA, and we went to great lengths to make sure that everyone could attend that. We barely had a quorum at that special meeting. And then this last regular meeting, we didn't have a quorum. And so there's two things. One is I'm concerned about everybody's willingness to attend meetings, particularly because you can attend like I do remotely all the time. And secondly, now the board is being compensated by our community's tax dollars and revenue, and I'm not really comfortable when we fail to have a quorum and have people show up to do business, particularly when we only meet once a month. So I think we should discuss that. One of my thoughts is that we adopt a policy that, if you can't attend or unless it's an emergency, you don't get compensated, or some sort of incentive where we're accountable to our constituents if we can't make meetings and conduct business. I mean, for Kim and I and Sasha, I mean, we depend on those meetings so we can get work done that we are dealing with, all month. And so I think it's worth a discussion and being accountable and so on. So,
Yeah, I wanna kind of piggyback on that a little bit. Ms. McElroy showed up last month for a public meeting to make public comment. She shouldn't have to call the office and check to see if anybody's gonna show up for a meeting that night before she shows up for the meeting. Sasha and I get here, we open at 7:30. Sometimes we get here 6:37. And we're here until everybody leaves this building on these nights. That's a long day for us, and including the fact that it takes us 30-40 minutes to get home after we leave here, and you guys are going, I don't know, a quarter mile home sometimes. So those are things that need to be taken into consideration. I agree with Ruth. This is a volunteer position. But once it moved to being compensated with taxpayer dollars, it kind of changes the game. And I don't feel like, I have to field those calls. So does Terry. And it's not a comfortable position to be in, to have to explain board member actions to the community.
Well, with knowing that last month we had family emergencies and illnesses, I think from here on out, we need to consider those and see if we can't notify him and Sasha ahead of time that we're not gonna be here,
And
And
it's not just notifying, it's the type of absences.
I was absent at the last meeting, but I did write an email to you when my flight got changed, and that was a week in advance. So I don't know if we just need some communication of like, will everybody be here? Because I mean, I was on my way to another country, so
The next
I
day.
couldn't have, well, but we had to stay out there because we left so early.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have been there, and I was also not in touch with my phone at the time either,
Yeah,
but that was a plan a week ahead of time.
we're in a very precarious situation. not
Yeah,
having a full board,
we have an open seat on the board
and
still,
we can't
that we
find
can't
anybody. to
find
fill it.
anybody. I know a ton of people that would be willing to sit on this board, but they do not reside in the town of Kiowa, they're on the outskirts. And according to our town charter, it can't be that way.
It can't be that way, and the only way to change it is by a vote of
Of
the
the
voters,
citizen,
of the
yeah.
citizen.
Yeah.
So only the citizens through an election can change the town charter. The code can be changed, because I see your faces. The code itself can be changed by motion of the board. The charter is the originating document that created the town, okay? And it sets the guidelines, and anything in that can only be changed by a vote of the voters through an election. So if we're to change the setup of the board, the time of the meetings, any of those things, it has to be put on a ballot and the voters have to approve it. I, at this point, am all for. I had 3 conversations today, people that don't live in this town that would be willing to serve on this board. And the only way to make that happen is to get the citizens of this town to agree that that is optimal to fill in a board position.
I'm allowed to ask a question about that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, what does it take to get something on the ballot? I think that, board members should have some kind of tax-paying, obligation to the town. Whether, for example, landlords who own a home in Kiowa, but have renters there, those landlords can't vote. Business owners who pay taxes in Kiowa also cannot vote or hold a place on the board. So what do we need to do as citizens? Well, I guess we're not technically citizens,
So let
as
me,
whatever we are.
so that's a conversation I had 3 times today.
It really,
Okay, and I see a huge difference between the ability to vote in this municipality and the ability to serve on this board. It would be an unfair advantage for you to live in one community, have the ability to vote in that community because you live there, and then come to this community and vote on decisions in this community too. However, serving on the board is a totally different thing. You're setting policy, you're making decisions, that you have the capability given to you under the charter or under the code to make. But you're not voting on things that really only a citizen of this town should be able to vote on. Does that make sense?
I understand your opinion. Yeah, I don't know that I share it, but I understand.
So let me ask you this, if you had a franchise and you had unbridled in 10 different municipalities, do you think you have the right to vote in every one of those municipalities because you have a business in every one of those municipalities when Trevor lives in one and only has the ability to vote in one?
Mm-hmm.
You have the ability as a voter to affect change in 10 different municipalities just because you have a franchise.
Yeah.
That's an unfair advantage.
It's an interesting thought, whereas we are a small business, right?
Right.
And we have one office. And we pay taxes right in the middle of town, but don't have any votes about the goings on of town or other things that are coming in or other activities. So I can see your point.
And you're gonna be hard pressed to find another municipality that would even consider what we're considering right now.
Even the board,
considering.
the board
Good.
place.
Cause you could do that on the water board, you and I have discussed that. You can serve on the Main Street board as a business owner or a property owner or an employee, just an employee that works in this town, you know, cause you have a vested interest on Main Street. You can serve on our events committee as any of those as well. The only thing you can't serve on is the town board.
Mhm.
And the only way to change that is the voters saying they're giving you permission as a business owner to serve on their town board.
You would have
go in as a
to,
special election.
well, it could be done during a regular election,
Well, yes,
but
it
you
could be
would
done
have
during the regular election, but it
to
would have
get
to go on.
a petition to have something added on the ballot.
Yeah.
And Sasha or Kim can tell you how many signatures actually have to be on that before it gets filed in. Or yes, it can be a special
Right,
election,
yes.
but that costs a lot of money.
So general elections are on November every even number year.
Yeah.
And then special elections are in May. Now, you know, part of the conversation today, my frustration would be that we put this out to the vote of the voters. People that don't show up for the meetings, the people that don't want to serve on this board. And then, but they don't want you to serve on the board. That's where our frustration
And
is,
then we paid for the special election for them to vote it down.
for them to vote it down.
Yes.
And they're still not gonna come to the meeting. They're still not gonna put a butt in a chair here, you know, but you're willing to.
Mhm.
That's where the frustration is.
Right,
So
right.
it's an obstacle and we all need to figure out a way.
Over.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would just like to comment a little bit on, we all need to sit back and look. Trust me, I hear from a lot of people and I do not hear good things about us, guys. A lot of our citizens think we are nothing but yes men and sit here and go along with everything. And that we don't get anything done, and I could go on for an hour telling you all the stuff I hear about us. Yeah, I'm sure you all could. We just need to sit back and think about the oath that we took for this office and put our best foot forward. I understand emergencies come up, that's gonna happen. The nice thing is we can do some Zoom. I've had to do it a couple of times. We just really, I get real frustrated hearing that we're just yes men. We aren't here to just warm a seat. We're here to represent our citizens in this town. And I think sometimes life gets in the way and we get busy and think, you know, we need to always keep in the forefront. We volunteered originally for these jobs. Now we are getting paid for them. We need to be held accountable to our citizens and we need to start changing our reputation. with our citizens a little bit. If you come up with an answer how we can do that, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. But I just think we really need to take in all seriousness why we're sitting here at this table tonight. And I'll get off my soapbox, Kim.
Although I would like to say that people who say that you are yes men, I can tell you the amount of work that Kim especially puts in, me secondarily, Ruth, to bring things before you. We do a lot of time and research, because especially Kim, she spends lots of extra hours here. And so she's not gonna put something in front of you that is substandard. So she's gonna try to give you the best option she can for what there is out there.
And I understand that completely. You guys know how much I think of both of you. You do a tremendous amount of work, more work than I've seen done in 6 years in this town. So, it is greatly appreciated. And, I really try, most of you that have been on the board here a little bit, I don't have a problem voting no. And when I vote no on something, it's because I've talked to citizens. And I get the largest number, okay, they agree with it, or they don't agree with it. When I come to this table, I'm gonna vote their opinion. That's what they elected me to do, not vote my opinion. So I think we need to keep that in mind. And, no, we're not gonna agree with everybody all the time, but we need to sit and listen. And whatever the town is looking for or not looking for, we need to keep that in mind whenever we're making decisions.
I've been sitting here quietly all night because I still don't have a voice.
I hear that.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Connie's been real sick.
Yeah, I was very, very sick and I apologize for that. I had the flu and it turned into pneumonia and now it's turned into this, but
Oh, jeez.
I'm not contagious anymore because I kept my germs to myself.
Jonathan says,
I really am.
Jonathan's like, he didn't know you're sick till you started talking.
He backed up a
No,
little.
I'm making it so they can see you.
But I'm better. Here I am.
Yes,
Okay,
you are.
well, we're glad you're here and we're glad you're better.
I'm glad you sat next to Jonathan.
Ruth, you have anything else to say on this? Does anybody else have anything you want to say?
I mean, we could talk about it more formally at the next meeting, or
A policy.
just let it go. I just,
Didn't we do a policy back in February of 24?
well, we have a policy with regard to code of conduct and things of that nature, but with regard to attendance, because we, have now changed compensation. Or we
Okay.
could see how it goes. I mean, we always had the right under the code of conduct to, unfortunately, bring to light like, oh, you missed however many meetings, or we have this issue, or, I'm compassionate and sensitive to everybody has a life as well. It's just that those one meetings a month are so important to the town getting work done. That's it, and
Objection having a policy on it, would you guys?
No,
We want to put something together then for next month's meeting?
I can do that.
Okay.
I thought there was a policy in place already.
I feel like, I know there's some stuff covered under the.
Yeah, of the code of ethics, but she's right. There's nothing about the payment that we reinstated.
Actually, that's in your charter.
It's in the chart.
And the reason you
Yeah.
reinstated it is because another board arbitrarily dismissed it. When they
I was on
can't
that
do that,
board, too.
only the voters can do that.
Right,
right.
right.
So
Yeah,
that's why it was reinstated.
right. So, but there's not a firm in the charter. It doesn't say, oh, if you miss 2 meetings, you don't get paid. So if we do a policy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's
a
what we
policy on
need
that,
to
yeah.
do.
I'll draft something over. for
Okay,
the next
That
meeting.
sounds good. Ruth, is there anything else?
No, sorry, I hadn't you on mute. I would just say that we will respond to this issue about the mobile office. It has been controversial. And we'll get back to you prior to next month's meeting and try to work with the applicant to work through this in some form.
Thank you.
All right.
Kimberly.
Did
go
you
for
still
it.
have something? You had your hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, good, okay.
No,
I didn't see that.
that's all right.
Podium's right in front of you.
Here,
I'm saving you.
Since no one's getting up speaking.
That's great. There you go.
There, okay.
Okay, so first on my report is the mass notification system. I have an update on that. We did the initial training and onboarding on January 28th with follow-up training on February 11th. We've spent much time building our templates and notification lists for internal customers, which is your boards, your committees and such. Right now, we're trying to get Meta verified on our social media platforms. This software, when we create the mass notifications, when all of these verifications are in place, we'll take that same message and blitz it out to our social media platforms as well as to whatever platform each of our citizens choose to get their notifications on, as well as our website. But we have a verification process on all our social media platforms that we have to go through to get permission to do that.
So are we gonna be notifying the town residents by mail to inform them in case they don't have social media?
So I'm getting there.
Thank you. Sorry.
We will invite the public to sign up for our system in the next 30 days. We can do many ways, we have many ways of doing that. You know, we have the notifications that we put on all the doors, you know, so that we make sure every household is aware of it. We'll put it on our website. We will put it on our social media. I will have our partners at Elbert County and everywhere else share that out. Our other group pages that we are on, to share that out. It's not just restricted to Kiowa residents, you know, whoever wants to get those notifications can sign up to get those notifications.
And they can get them via text if they want to text or email or
Yeah, it's whatever they
However-
choose.
whatever.
So that's where we're at with that right now. That will happen within the next 30 days. We could still brainstorm, together, Tammy, if you'd like, how that looks going out.
Okay.
Okay. Our agenda and meeting management program software, the kickoff meeting for that is scheduled for Monday, March 24th. So I'll be able to give you more information on that once Sasha and I attend that meeting. Park project update. On Monday, February 24th, a community development block grant application was submitted to DOLA with an ask of $600,000 for permanent bathroom structures in both our parks. The project budget total is $670,000 just for the 2 permanent bathroom structures. If granted, this will be removed from the GOCO grant request for the entire project. That submittal will be in July. Removing that part from the total project grant request from GOCO will actually make that more competitive because it shows we're actively seeking funding from other resources. This is also something that I'll be having to sit down with the county and seeking a partnership in as well. I've spoken to the school about holding a penny wars drive amongst the classrooms to gain community involvement in this project. And actually, while I'm sitting here, I got an email back from them that they are seeking permission to do that. Because as I said at the last meeting, part of the competitiveness that GOCO is looking for, because it is called a community block grant, they're looking for partnership with your community, those that benefit the most from the parks, you know? So part of doing that is working with the school, finding fun activities to get the kids involved, in this project. And we decided that is in the form of an activity called a penny wars game. The kids will have tip jars in their rooms and the classroom there'll be a score sheet depending on what they put in there, and the classroom with the most points at the end of the year will get a party sponsored by the town. So, those are things we're working on with regard to the park project. Grants. Kiowa Bennett Road Improvement Project. We got a lot of projects going on in this town right now.
Yeah.
Besides the grant application submitted for the park project last month, we came in on a regional grant opportunity that was presented to us with other municipalities in our region through the East Central Council of Governments. After 3 different versions, revisions, because the federal government kept changing all of the rules. Our project scope reductions, we submitted and asked for Kiowa that focused on Kiowa Bennett Road from 86 to the last turn into the fairgrounds, which is actually the edge of town limits to the north. Our ask was $1.5 million. What that's gonna do is effectively bring in Kiowa Bennett Road into the 86 project. It'll give it storm drainage and sidewalks. And then they will rework the turn-ins at the mobile home park and the fairgrounds to make them safer. And work out something right there for the turn-in of the school to make that safer.
And so we'll have sidewalks all the way down in front of the.
That
fairgrounds.
is the goal.
That's
That is the
the
goal. These are all things that were touched upon in our comp plan update. So
That'd be sweet.
that grant request was submitted. We had hopes with that one to include County Road 45, but because of all the reductions in what they were looking for, the revisions we had to make, because they kept reducing the ask amount, we had to pull 45 from that because there was more priority going down Kiowa Bennett Road than there was County Road 45. Within a few weeks of that disappointment, we got word that there was a grant opening up on March 18th with the US Department of Transportation. So we have already prepared that grant application and it's ready for submittal on March 18th. It is a first come, first serve. And that one will be for $750,000 to bring County Road 45 into 86
Yeah.
with sidewalks and stuff.
I go check.
Yay.
So,
There you go. Send it. There's a lot of old ladies that go down there.
Yeah,
That have a hard time.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know one of them from over there is 90. She'll be
Yeah.
91 in October, no, August 30th.
Yeah.
First.
We were really disappointed at having
Yeah.
to take that out, but now
was
he
really
provides,
good.
so 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
I was a little upset too.
Yeah. I know.
Because it dips,
You can
I
put
don't know if you've seen it, but it dips way down and it just fills up with water.
Yeah, and we'll also be working with the county on that because they are a direct benefactor of County Road 45. I don't know if you guys know it, but the west lanes of County Road 45 are the town's responsibility and the east lanes of County Road 45 are the county's
Oh,
responsibility.
is that because of the,
It goes north and south.
right, but
But
the,
I'm saying on this side of the road and this side of the
Yeah.
road. So
Yeah, on
west
one side of the
road
yellow line
is ours.
is ours.
Southbound.
On the
Yeah,
other side of the
on
line is the
east
county's.
side of the road is the county's.
So the county's gonna get.
So it would directly benefit them
Free
to
road.
work with us on that. So
Right.
whatever we don't get in a grant, we're hoping it's 100% funded, but if we need any more, I'm gonna go to the county and ask them to partner with us on that. So, town events, just an update on town events. We are adding back in the Father's Day pancake breakfast. Kiowa Lions Club has asked that we hold that again this year. So we are adding back in the Father's Day breakfast at the Lions Club. It'll be held Saturday, June 14th, the day before Father's Day from 8 a.m. till 12 noon. Bino's Pizza has volunteered to sponsor the annual Easter egg hunt lunch again this year. It's our first event of the year. It'll be held on Saturday, April 19th at 11 a.m. with a rain date of Saturday, April 26th, which will be the same time, same place. We talked about the parks project and trying to get community involvement in that. Part of the discussion we had with Bino's. Historically, they put a tip jar out there and any donations made to that tip jar during that event goes back to the boys basketball program at the school. JR at Bino's understands what we've been tasked with to get the grant from GoCo. So we've had discussions about that tip jar at this event and the other events we're having across town this year. And I agreed with him that if we could put a tip jar out there showing community involvement for the sake of this grant, we would fully support their basketball program and their endeavors this year. So that they're not completely out that support from their community.
So Lions Club backed out of doing it.
no, they're doing it. But there was issue last year, as you know, toward the end of the year.
No, I mean for the Easter egg hunt.
Lions Club was never doing the lunch.
Yeah,
No, last year Venus did it.
Pinos did it.
I know Beanos did it last year, but at our last meeting, we talked about getting the Lions Club to do it, and Jay said he didn't know if he could get volunteers. Well, I've got 4 volunteers that were willing to cook,
Oh, well,
so,
they
okay,
can still help with
that's
the event,
fine.
but Pinos has volunteered to serve the lunch on them.
Okay.
And it will be a free lunch, because we don't charge for any of those things at our events. Public Works. Thanks to Who Motors, we purchased another locally and under budget Public Works truck for Mendez. We budgeted $25,000 this year for that truck, and on February 11th, we purchased a 2013 Ford F-150 with 115,000 miles on it. More importantly, it had a heater. And we purchased it on the coldest day of this year so far. The total cost of that was $17,144, saving us $7,856. The old truck had 25 years on it, over 300,000 miles and numerous mechanical issues. The dealership was very generous in their opinion of $500 value. Mendez asked to purchase that truck and has already purchased that truck outright. I need to get a title for it because like other records, I can't find it anywhere in this office. So I will get with the clerk and recorder's office for a replacement title. And just so you know, due to the value placed on that vehicle, both the auditor and general counsel found no need to surplus it because it's clearly fully depreciated. And the impact of removing it from capital assets is $0. That's the end of my report.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Code enforcement, first quarter report will be due in April. Consent items. Did everybody get a chance to take a look at January minutes as well as the February minutes?
Yeah, I didn't reprint the minutes.
I think we looked
Or
at last week,
reissue them.
or last meeting,
month,
didn't we?
yes. You should have.
Yeah.
February
it was-
was nothing.
And February's nothing now.
Okay,
Motion to approve the January 14th, 2024.
You want to do them all at the same time, January 14th, January 28th, and February 11th? Unless there's revisions or issues with the others.
It's the 28th, that was the water board.
The joint,
Meeting?
yeah.
yeah,
was the joint meeting.
Yeah.
yeah, we did approve those.
When did you approve them? You didn't have a meeting? last month to
Well,
approve
we
them?
did, but we didn't, we
Oh.
couldn't.
On record, yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't have a quorum.
I can't post them to the website until they're.
I
formally
know.
approved.
So do we just want to do them all in together? The 14th, the 28th, and February 11th? Would you amend your
It's
motion?
better to do them separately, but we're good.
All right, then we'll do them separately.
Want them done separately?
All
I'll
right,
second motion.
Okay, for the January 14th.
Yep, get her done.
And I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 28th.
Which was the water meeting, right?
Yes.
That was the
Yeah.
joint one.
All right, hold on. Let's vote the first ones.
We just did, oh, vote. Sorry,
Yeah, we didn't vote. The January 14th, was it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Right?
Opposed? Okay, now, Bailey,
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from January 25th meeting, joint meeting.
I'll second that one too.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And finally, February 11th.
There, which we didn't have a form for, yeah?
Correct.
So,
Yeah, but,
There's no.
But there's still a.
yeah,
We have
there's
to put
still
them
a,
on file.
yeah, we
still
have to
a
put
minute.
on file.
As to who was attending, who was absent, and
Right.
that there was no quorum, we still have to record that.
I make a motion that we approve that.
Okay,
For the record,
okay.
Yeah, she seconds that.
I heard her.
I heard her whisper
Any further discussion?
You can just.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Expenditures year to date.
There we go.
There's nothing out of the ordinary on your expenditures.
Did everybody get a chance to look at them, and do you have any questions?
No. Motion to approve.
Thank you, Trevor.
One second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, we go to old business.
You guys, you guys are approved the updated comp plan. But as a municipality, we have to have a resolution in place formally approving it, rather than just by minutes.
Okay.
So this is what this resolution is formally adopting your updated comp plan.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Resolution number 6.
Yes.
Yes,
Resolution number 6, adopting the town of Kiowa comprehensive plan.
I'll move.
okay, second,
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay,
And resolution 7.
So I'm gonna propose that we table this until next month. There's a possibility that the one that was sent out to you is not the one with all of the,
All the stuff we talked about.
yes.
Yeah, I was wondering.
So, I mean, the revisions are there, but there was a discussion during the water board meeting that there's still some inconsistencies with the proposed changes. So we want to make sure that all of the proposed changes are.
So we got another special meeting with the water board? like
No,
we
we
did last
do
time?
not
No.
need to do that.
No.
I'm just proposing we table this,
You wanna get
so
it?
that
until,
we,
Were there many? Cause I feel like I didn't.
they
see
were
any.
small.
Some typos.
Okay.
Mostly.
And there
I
was a
couldn't
request
compare
for
my
certain
notes
things to
and-
be included in there, so we need to make sure of what we're giving you, and I'd rather have, what the water board is, putting forward as questions cleared up before I put it in front of you guys.
I'll make the motion, we table resolution 7.
Second that.
okay,
One member had.
I second that table.
any further discussion? All in favor of tabling resolution 7? Opposed? Okay. We will table that to next month's meeting then. Discussion and communications.
This is what printed out,
Say it again. One.
do those have highlights? Oh,
Yes.
can I have one of those?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You want these out?
Yes, please.
Mhm.
So I wanted to have a discussion before we left this meeting about, the code of ethics that you guys adopted on February 13th, 2024, for your board. When we touched on a few things, but I'll be honest with you, I had some complaints about some things that were said during the community meeting. And I just want to revisit some of the things that you guys committed to on your code of ethics. And I highlighted some of those areas. For instance, endeavor to align your behavior, actions, and decisions with other principles of good governance. Be mindful of appearing neutral And not arguing or fighting, with your fellow board members, under decorum and order. You'll observe proper decorum at meetings and other official public gatherings, in official capacity. Avoid abusive and profane language during the meetings and during public community events. Avoid conduct or omissions unbecoming of an incumbent holding a particular position. Misuse of your official capacity as a board trustee. Know that you're always on display. Your actions, mannerisms, language, and interactions in non-official settings are always under scrutiny. Conduct yourself in a way that reflects positively on your citizens, your municipality. Exemplary governance depends on cooperative and supportive efforts of elected officials who set policy and town staff who implement and administer policy. Make every effort should be made to be cooperative and show mutual respect for the contributions made by each public servant. Be clear, honest in your communications that respect the abilities, experience, and dignity of each individual as expected. Poor behavior towards staff is not acceptable. Poor behavior towards your fellow trustees is unacceptable. Poor behavior against your citizens out in public, unacceptable. Express your concerns about the performance of town employees in public, to the employee directly, not in public, or to the employee's department head. For me, that's the mayor. If you have a problem with me, say it to the mayor. Don't go out into our community and create a bad environment for us in this office. Unnecessarily. It's bad for our community. It's bad for you. This is part of what we're talking about in creating transparency, a trusting relationship with our community. If we can't treat each other with respect and professionalism, why do they think they can come to us for help? Or to even be listened to or heard? Don't make any promises on behalf of the town of Kiowa. None of you individually have the ability to make any promises to anybody. You'll frequently be asked to explain board action or give your opinion about an issue as they meet and talk with the constituents of the community. It's appropriate to give a brief overview of the town policy, but refer them to their individuals to town staff for further information. There's not one situation in this town that you as an individual trustee can affect change on. There's an appropriate action for everything. It's set by the code. That's not set by the town. It's set by your board. And it was done a long, long time ago before you were put in place. If you want to change that, you have to change that. And then we enforce it. That's all we do is enforce it. We don't create it. And we're not going to change the enforcement of that to something that's not already been put in place through the code. If we do that, that puts us legally liable for doing that. And I'm not gonna put myself in that position. And I wouldn't appreciate any of you putting me in that position. It is acceptable to publicly disagree about an issue, but it's unacceptable to make derogatory or personal comments about other public servants or their opinions and actions. It's unacceptable to intentionally disclose protected confidential government personnel information obtained during executive sessions or in the course of Board of Trustees duties. I am reading you highlighted sections in here, not the entire thing, because these are issues. They're issues that have been in meetings, they're issues that have been in community meetings, they are issues that I have gotten complaints about. And it needs to be addressed. It needs to be put out here on public record and held accountable for them. Lastly, continuously and willfully violating ordinances of the town of Kiowa, including failure to go through the town administrator, misusing board of trustee status to instruct town staff to perform certain actions. You approved it February 13, 2024. keep it there, follow it. It's in place for a reason. It's for our community, it's for your staff, it's for you. I just want a reminder. I don't want any more citizens in here making the complaints that I've heard.
Well, I'll make a comment on that. If we look at some of, our federal level folks that are representing us throughout the country, there's quite a few of them that I'm quite embarrassed to say they run the country. And I feel that, we're not any different. We need to make sure that we hold up the respect and dignity that these positions we're sitting in require. So I think we just need to kind of keep ourselves in check with things. Anybody have anything else to add?
Yeah, it's been heavy on my heart, just recently. I've been sitting on this board for, well, longer than a couple of years, but, and I haven't figured out exactly how, what to do about it or how to go about it, but, I wanna, you guys take on this, but it's been heavy on my heart that I think we ought to open our meetings in prayer.
Amen.
So, I don't know about closing them in prayer, but we definitely need to open our meetings in prayer. That's my opinion. I wanna know what y'all think about that and how we go about changing the structure of our meetings. We say pledge allegiance. Why can't we ask for some guidance?
I personally do not have an issue with that. They do it at our state capitol. I mean, they bring in, different, pastors, preachers, priests, whatever.
And we got some of those in this community. Let's get them involved and have them come in and pray for our meeting.
Yep. I don't have an objection to that.
I
So,
mean, I love the idea, but
You all have control of that.
so how do we change the meeting structure? As far as, I mean,
Water board wanted to put pledge of allegiance on their agenda moving forward.
Yeah.
They made a motion and they voted for it and it's on their agenda moving forward.
would I make a motion that we, open our meetings in prayer? So. All in favor?
Hang on.
Probably.
I'm running this meeting here, Jonathan. How do you guys in the audience feel about that?
That's an important part.
No problem. Okay, now, is there any further discussion?
So, clarify, we'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, prayer. Pledge allegiance,
That sounds good.
correct. I still second.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Another reading locally, very close to you, begins with a prayer before the meeting is called to order.
Board of County Commissioners.
How do you want it done?
In my opinion,
Um,
I'm sorry.
Connie's talking, you can't hear her because she has no voice,
Yeah.
and she's trying.
Struggling. I don't know, I think, in my opinion, that the pledge of allegiance maybe, and then the prayer before we get in. Just because, you know, the one nation under God and all that, and but I don't care. Poetic license,
Doesn't matter to me when it happens, as long as it happens.
right?
Any other?
You couldn't hear her, she's done, Ruth, go ahead.
my only thinking is that you may offend some people. And consider saying prayer before the meeting commences, but that's just my thought.
You're recommending that the prayer before a meeting, especially so it's not part of a government thing, or what is she recommending there?
Ruth, can you? I need to see your face.
I would just say, oh, sorry.
Bonnie has a question. What is your?
I've actually not had this issue arise before. But if Albert County is doing it that way, so they have a prayer before they adjourn the meeting, commence the meeting.
So what you're saying is, before we start the meeting, we have our prayer before we start the meeting, and then we call the meeting to order, and then continue on. Is that what you're saying? Be best way to do it?
Well, that's what I heard Albert County does. I don't know, maybe all of you know better.
John, you have a comment?
Well, to clarify, I did not include this before, but I see this is probably important. The video begins. The meeting is not yet called to order. They have the prayer, they say the pledge, and then the meeting is called to order.
Okay.
Just some
Say that
people
again.
have objections to religious entanglement. That's all I'm saying.
So the prayer and the pledge are said before the meeting begins.
Correct. But the video is running,
Okay,
so there are people watching on video as the
okay,
prayer is said and as the pledge is said.
got it. Okay.
That way they're not excluded.
So we as a board can just say that, yes, we would like to do that and then commence the meeting.
So recording for the meeting doesn't start until after those two. Is that what you're saying?
No,
No,
he says
video.
recording
This
starts.
records.
The
The
video
meeting
records.
is not called to order
The
yet.
meeting is recorded, but the meeting is not called to order. Then there's the prayer, then there's the pledge, and then the call to order.
But the video's playing at all
But
times.
the video is playing.
Sounds on record. No music excluded.
My thought is this is kind of, I'm not serious. Call the meeting to order. We've done the pledge after we called it to order.
Well, you can rearrange your agenda. Cause the KWWA board, we do the pledge before I do the roll call.
Good.
And you guys do the roll call before you do the pledge, so it's really up to your board.
Well, what, everybody, if you wanna do the prayer and the pledge before we commence the meeting? Show of hands,
Yeah.
That's fine.
As long as we do it.
okay,
Yeah, amen.
so you good with that, Kim?
Yes, ma'am. I've
Okay,
revised the agenda moving forward.
Thank you.
we have the motion and an amendment, a second,
So I had Jonathan as the first and Trevor as the second.
okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, any further discussion?
One thing real quick.
Yes,
I haven't been here many years. Just as an outsider, as a citizen looking in, just from what I heard today. No matter what people are saying in the community about being yes men, the people that care are gonna be here. And I hope I can be able to attend more often myself.
we appreciate
The good
that.
Lord put me in Kiowa, and I'm proud to be a citizen here. People try to get me to move away, but the good Lord's kept me here for a reason.
That's right.
Okay, so I don't fight that. But what I heard tonight, and I don't wanna get in the mix of all the stuff that's going on with it, is I know since I've been here 9 years, what was the name of your company again? Unbridled. The company that redid that whole building, brought wonderful beauty to the community. When you go by at night, it's illuminated, looks great.
Mhm.
And then I heard about the fines and stuff like that, and this and that. And you got somebody who's in a community who loves to be here. And I could see somebody like that want to sponsor things and events. Instead of somebody getting taxed like that, allow them to be able to, because from what I heard, I don't see anything wrong, I said just what I heard, but I don't know legality, so I don't wanna get in the middle of that. But when you bring so much beauty to the community, bringing things here, and you have people that wanna be here. Like, and they would just want to pour out that support, rather than paying a fine, put it back into the community, that's all. So, I got a good way of always putting my head on the chopping block and getting it chopped off, so hopefully I haven't done that today.
No, not at
Thanks for
all.
being here.
Yes, we appreciate you being here.
Sorry to get emotional, cause I love this place.
Well, thank you. We're glad you live here and make it to more meetings.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
There's been a lot of
Very good.
people in this community that have helped me through my medical issues since COVID. And
Very
I
good.
can't thank enough.
Very good.
Good to hear, thank you.
Yes.
You know, what's funny. I was cutting his hair way before I ever knew he was my neighbor.
Really?
Real quick, Jesse,
Yes, sir.
I owe you an apology,
Oh, goodness.
cause last month's meeting, I didn't realize,
You had an emergency.
I kinda had a little tunnel vision. And then I thought I could maybe jump on a Zoom. I didn't have hardly any cell service to even pull off a Zoom. And I apologize, cause you made the effort to come in and delayed you a month.
Well,
And
thank
so-
you for your apology, but really it's forgiven. And to be transparent, I wasn't here for public comment. I was just here to participate. So
Well-
the public comment didn't come until this month, but thank you for your apology.
Same thing to the remainder of I don't mean the remainder to this board.
All this.
So hopefully now, I don't know, we haven't had any trainer.
Yeah, hey, yeah, don't jinx us. Don't jinx us.
No car wrecks, nobody's drove through fences or any other stuff, or I haven't. Nobody's been to the hospital for a while, so,
Since last month.
between my dad, my mom and I, so it's
Yeah.
pretty good,
Last month.
so.
He's had a really tough time.
Okay, anything
Motion to
else?
adjourn.
All right, do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
At
8:56.
8:56.
Yep. No, you did. Actually, it's.
I gotta work some water. Yeah, it's just.